I've built out our element so we can camp in it, and that's probably as close as I'll ever get to having an RV. But as a boy, I was intrigued by all those camper trailers people hauled around behind their cars. The idea of a portable vacation home was so cool, and they looked far more comfortable than the canvas tents we used. I also suspected that cooking standard camp fare was much easier in an RV than over an open fire. But could I throw a fancy dinner party with dishes like smoked salmon stacks and beef Wellington and limoncello ricotta cake on something like this? I don't know. Let's find out. A friend has offered his camping trailer for this grand experiment, and I think it's doable, but I'll be ready with the franks and beans, just in case. It's Friday night, the day before the dinner party, and I'm going to start the advanced preparations today with the mustard seed dressing, and this will go on the smoked salmon stacks. And what I'm going to do is brown 2 teaspoons of mustard seeds, and I've got the stove over medium heat. We're going to brown these until they start popping. Those are popping. So I'm going to take them off there, let them cool. While the seeds are cooling, I'm going to squeeze out 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to be adding this lemon juice to the mustard seeds along with apple cider vinegar, Dijon mustard, olive oil, and salt and pepper. And if you need the exact measurements for the ingredients, check out the website. Dijon mustard, apple cider vinegar, and I will chill this until tomorrow. I'm going to turn now to the tomato soup, and for this we need a few ingredients. Tomatoes, of course, red onions, garlic, carrots, and basil leaves. And I put 3 tablespoons of olive oil in this large pot, and I'm going to be using this to fry up the onions and the carrots soon. And let's start by chopping the onions. I need 1.5 cups of onions. And next I'll chop the carrots. Onions and carrots. And while that's going, I'm going to dice up some garlic. Now I'm going to rough chop 2 pounds of tomatoes. Alright, I'm going to stir in the garlic now. We're going to go about 1 minute with the garlic. Now I'm going to chop up some basil. I'm going to put the tomatoes in now with the onions and garlic and carrots. I'm going to add sugar into that. Now in goes the basil. And tomato paste. And I'm going to add some 3 cups of chicken stock and salt and pepper. We're going to bring this to a boil and let it simmer for about half an hour, 40 minutes, till the tomatoes are very tender. The tomatoes have been going for about 35 minutes, and they're nice and soft, so I'm going to take them out and put them in the food mill. Continuing with the advanced preparations, I've drained the white beans which we've had soaking since last night, and I'm going to add this to a pot filled with water. And to that I'm going to add half an onion, sprig of thyme, and a bay leaf. And I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to simmer it over low heat for about an hour and 15 minutes till the beans are soft. I'm going to start the puff pastry now, and I've got a cup of all-purpose flour, and into that I'm going to put 10 tablespoons of cubed cold butter, and we're going to cut this in until it makes little pebble-sized pieces. Alright, now I'm going to put 1/3 cup of ice cold water into this. And we're going to form a dough, and I'm going to add salt to that. Now I'm going to pat this dough into a square on a floured cutting board. I'm going to roll this into a 10-inch rectangle. And I'm going to fold it like a letter. I'm going to wrap this now in plastic, and we're going to chill it for about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to repeat this, and we'll do this 6 times so we get several layers here for the puff pastry. I've turned the water under the beans down to low, and these will simmer now for an hour and 15 minutes. The beans have been going now for an hour and 15 minutes, and I just checked them. They are nice and tender, so they're ready to go. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to that, and then we're going to let this cool off and chill it until tomorrow. And I am on my final roll with the bread, the pastry crust I should say. So we're going to give it one more roll. I'm going to wrap this up in plastic now and chill it overnight. It's about 2:30 a.m. on the day of the dinner party, and I finished the advanced preparations and I'm getting ready to go to bed in the trailer. And I'm really quite impressed with how luxurious this is. I've got these funky blue night lights which are actually pretty neat, and I'll be turning those off in a moment. We'll be eating about 6:15, and I'll be getting up in about 5.5 hours to finish the preparations for the dinner party. And that should do it for today. Good night.